Hey, so today I want to explain how we can heal faster. Every one of us has once in their lifetime a few injuries, like from sports, sportific injuries, or like a flu, migraine, headache, or we cut ourselves. And there's like a standard time period for people to heal. But we have a lot of case studies about people who have faster regeneration rates than other people. Rarely science can answer those questions why these people heal faster. But it is, even though it is a scientific anomaly, pretty common to happen. There are even numerous accounts of miracles throughout the history in every kind of culture, especially well documented in the modern times in India and in China by conquerors and by the colonialist countries who suppressed them. For example, England. English people documented a lot of crazy, impossible scenarios they experienced with gurus in India. And many miracles are documented in all kinds of religions, from Christianity to Taoism to Hinduism to Old Testament Hebrew Israelites, Africa. Everywhere around the world, the people know about miracle healers and about people who had high self-generation rates. The question is, how much can we trust these sources? I can tell you, and I want to teach you how to heal faster, because I think most of these sources, even though they are not from our modern day laboratory conditions, we can discuss and calculate the trustworthiness, but I can tell you, I don't see any reason in our ancestors bullshitting us. They have interest, if they find out about a danger, to pass that knowledge on to other people. And they have interest, if you can reduce a risk or a danger, to pass down that knowledge. So there's no real survival biochemical explanation why people should talk about myths and legends in general. Either why should people talk about myths or legends? Either to polish their own prestige and rise their name above others, like the early royal families of Middle-aged Europe, like the Merovingers. All these families had Rome. Why Roman people try to created a mythos probably to prestige themselves, elevate their status above other civilizations, because the Roman Empire was founded by these two magical men, and one killed his other brother, which is also a story most commonly known from the Bible. The brother who kills his younger brother, who's more strong, who's more intelligent, and then later regrets it and searches for forgiveness and mercy. It's very interesting, because I think most of the legends we know about peoples and miracles and miracle healers are more trustworthy than we should believe, because modern day science reaches the edge of what is actually comprehensible for our hardwired material thinking mind. We think a lot of things are impossible because we are taught like this, but our ancestors, they didn't have these limitations of thinking, and we trained ourselves through the industrial age to think in a more atomic, material, earthly manner. But the interesting thing is that science, even though it taught us, is now having breakthroughs in all kinds of fields, from chemistry to biochemistry to the medical field. We are technologically advancing so fast that most of our mindset and our perception of reality can't keep up anymore with science, and our mindset and our worldviews are very outdated, and we think things we know from ancient times, like these myths and miracles, are not unknown to science. There are a lot of crazy things which have been tested in laboratories, and especially in the early ages and of our modern era and the last ages of industrialization. Many of these last living people from the ancient times, like gurus and ascets and hermits, were tested in laboratory conditions. They were scientifically documented, and we know of miracles which are scientifically documented, like this Dutch guy who went to India and did experiments with that guru who could pierce his body with 26 swords and his organs didn't hurt, and when they pull out the blades there were no blood, no wounds, and people find that crazy. But these cases are documented throughout Indian history for hundreds of times by thousands of witnesses. If one person lies, it's possible, but not thousands in hundreds of cases. I don't say I believe in that. I just know for a scientific fact that those laboratory conditions and scientists being there and trying to create these conditions to see if something is documentable, if there's scientifically provable evidence. And we have one of the greatest people who broke the laws of our medical understanding of biochemistry is Wim Hof. Everybody knows this guy. And he could show that the autoimmune system is not as automative as we think, but he was able to control it. But it was only a case study trying to show that he can do it, and science still does not believe that everyone can do it, even though Wim Hof says he's just a normal human being and you just need to train it, but everyone can learn it. And that's actually what all these gurus, ascets say, all these monks around the world. And miracle healers are actually very common in history. The most common one is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He is known for science and academic community as an exorcist and miracle healer. This is first profession scientists talk about when they talk about the historical Jesus Christ. We have Pythagoras. Pythagoras for us is known for mathematics, but actually Pythagoras was a miracle healer. Many people don't know this. Miracle healers, why do we call them miracle healers? Why do we call them miracles? Because we are so firm in our belief what is possible in this material world. But I think how consciousness and interconnectivity between subatomic matter is more important than how atomic matter behaves. Likewise, it is with mind over matter, because the immaterial energetical state is in physics higher than a low vibrational material state. In physics, we know that if it's a lower material state, it vibrates lower. And if it vibrates higher, it's a higher energetical state. And this state is it can receive more particles, it can output more particles, the exchange is higher, the vibration is higher, and yeah, and we see our body functions in a similar way. It has cells which are dying, so it outputs biomass, and it inputs biomass to regenerate new cells. And the higher frequency, the more output and input of particles is existing. So we could probably base a hypothesis on that observation, scientific observation. And we have many cases of people, they're like, we call things miracle healing, but there are hundreds of thousands. I said because in ancient times they were documented. But I tell you, there are hundred thousands of cases by modern hospital standards documented of people who experienced spontaneous healing of unhealable diseases. 100,000 of testimonies of well-documented diagnosed diseases which just vanished out of nothing. So actually, if scientists and doctors would have a little brain and overcome their limited thinking, they could admit that we don't know shit about the body. If we say cancer is unhealable, except with chemotherapy, it's the only accepted treatment for cancer. There are many preventive therapies, but the only treatment we have for cancer is chemotherapy, also because of the pharmacological standards we have and the safety, and especially because of the big pharma and the big money milk machine cancer is. And thousands of people experience spontaneous healing of cancer without chemotherapy. And even after chemotherapy, cancer comes back, and they give these people, for example, like for heavy cancers, which are 100% mortality, but it's very interesting because many people experience these spontaneous healings and doctors don't know why. But instead of saying they don't know shit and we need to change our science, they just call it spontaneous healing. And that's actually ridiculous. That's a disgust to scientific approach. Just like wave it off. We don't know what it is. It's just happening. But what is happening in reality, which has evidence of existence, perceivable, measurable outputs. We need to research that. We cannot say cancer is nearly untreatable and has a 100% mortality if you don't treat it, even though we know that you don't die of cancer. We tell that people, but actually science and doctors know you don't die of cancer, you die of carexia. Because you die of caloric deficit. And most of the people die because of multiple medical treatments. Like they die of the side effects of drugs because they have like loads of pills and drugs to eat during the chemotherapy and during the treatment. Most of the people die because of the chemotherapy. And when that disease, as an example, is so hard and untreatable, and so many people experience spontaneous healing, but nobody takes that serious. And many of these people say because it's of lifestyle changes, because of dietary changes, because they started fasting, because they moved somewhere else, because they moved into the forest, into nature, into urban regions, left the cities, left their job, reduced stress levels massively, and these people come back and their their baseball-sized cancers just vanish. And I take this example because it's the worst disease. And I can tell you, our body it's not a miracle machine. A miracle healing is not something we perceive as as something mysterious, esoteric, mystical. Miracle healing can probably be explained too, but we don't know yet how to measure it. We don't know what kind of energy is transmitted, what kind of energies the cells feed off. We know our cells and our body to regenerate needs calories, needs minerals and salts to build up new cells, needs water. We know all these things. It's like cells have like a electromagnetic field. Cells are alive, functioning, have output. You have stem cells which can create other kind of cells, bone cells, muscle tissue, everything. We know a lot about biology. But origin of life biology, people tell us they know how the first cell got created, but if you look at experts, they do it only under laboratory conditions. We don't have a fucking clue how life started. And only a few scientists dare to admit that. But if you want to check that, Dr. Tour actually is one of the only scientists who dares to talk about that, and the only one who debates other people about that. We don't know shit about life. We don't know the miracle of life. We don't have a clue. And if you have seen a birth, if you have experienced something like this, if you have experienced, if you saw someone dying, you know life is a miracle. It's not something we can simply explain and pull it off by, yeah, this is how biochemically a cell works. Look at the scientists who try to research how the eye functions and how the eye developed evolutionary. These people, most of the time, even though they started out as atheists, like an Albert Einstein, most of these scientists, at the end of their life, admit that there's something way beyond our understanding. And they admit that this life is a miracle and it needs a creational force. It's impossible. I tell you, miracles are possible because it is not only the atomic material structured world we perceive. This is just a small part of reality. A very small part. And most of our reality is energetical, is spiritual, is highly complex. We don't know shit. We didn't know anything about EMFs 190 years ago. If I would show an iPhone to a guy 80 years ago, he would think it's magic. If I put on my hand onto someone else and I emit bioelectricity, and we don't know how to measure it, and we don't know how the body receives that, we don't have a clue. And we are not allowed to dare these people miracle healers or dare to call miracle healers fakes. Because some are definitely. Some are snake oil sellers. 100%, maybe even 99.9% of them. I admit that. 100% I'm your side. I'm looking at this on a scientific basis. Even though it doesn't seem like this, but science outdated our mindset a long time ago. People don't even know what the double slit experiment actually means to our physical reality. Subatomic matter gives a fuck on time and space. And our cells are heavily under the conditions of time and space. But if actually reality and what you are based on doesn't give a fuck about time and space, that should make you think what is actually possible. And if there is a world like that, and it's an energetical world ruling the material world, we should ask ourselves how that energetical world functions. And I tell you, life is a miracle, and it's not possible without creational force. Everyone who studies the origin of life, everyone who studies robotic, AI, they know how hard it is to create a living being thinking by itself. It's actually impossible. People who study the evolutionary biological process of the eye, many of the best scientists still don't have this 4 billion cells only in the eye. And only if a few are on the wrong place, you can't see right. It's crazy. It's a machine. It's even better constructed than the camera I'm filming it with, my video right now. And with that camera, you would not say it just came into existence randomly. Or your phone, or your TV you're watching this with, or your PlayStation, or your PC. It's highly complex, but it's not even a fracture as complex as your eye. But with the eye, you say it's randomness. But with the camera, everyone knows its design. If you look at a beautiful building, do you think it came into existence? You know it. There's a builder. And this is why I talk about regenerative abilities, to be like a Wolverine, like from the movie X-Men. Why does military do research about this? Why does the film try to play with that kind of idea? Because the super soldier programs and this kind of research, science, what we have in universities, is not the same science military does. Industrial military complex is far beyond our scientific reaches. They know way more, and they don't tell shit. You have like these documents from FBI and CIA which are released because of that Freedom Act, but it's not called Freedom Act. I don't know what it's called in English. It's America. I'm very thankful for the American constitution to be like that we get these documents. But I can tell you, if you read these military documents, you see what is actually possible, because universities and our modern day science is outdated bullshit. And it's not outdated bullshit. Universities are producing the best evidence in the world, but until that evidence reaches a hospital and your doctor in your region, it takes 15 years. Until you have someone who's a physiotherapist for a football star and he helps him heal his tendons 5 times faster than of another one, and until a scientist finds that guy and does a case study, until they do RCTs and then meta-analysis of these RCTs, until a doctor in some forest hospital says, okay, let's do this for tendon ruptures, and this becomes a medical, scientifically well-known approach, I tell you, this takes 15-20 years. Until even 10-15 years until the first RCTs are done. You know how long it took for science to accept scientifically based meditation practices? How it changed the frontal lobe, how it can change your neurological pathways, the structure of your brain, how it can reduce stress by 100-folds. And Dr. John Kabat-Zinn took years of research until the scientific community accepted him. Even though the biological, measurable evidence was immense. But this takes science so long. But so if you only listen to science, you will lose. You are outdated, bro. And if you don't believe in miracles, if you don't believe in something higher, bro, quantum physics is pooping on you. It is like this. So I can tell you, because it's very important that we understand this, and I tell you now 3 different strategies how to heal faster. The first one, 100%, is prayer. I know it's crazy, but there are millions of testimonies. Most of the miracle healers were people who were highly connected to a higher being. And the most well-known miracle healer is Jesus Christ. And he said his power comes only from his Father in heaven. The creator being, which the whole universe comes from, he was directly connected with that. And he could emit that energy and heal people. And it's just energy, we don't understand it yet. But it's not a miracle. It's not something mystical, esoterical. It's probably something very scientific. But we don't have him here to put him in laboratories, and I'm happy for that, because humans don't need to understand everything. One day we will. But faith and belief is much stronger than knowledge. The second is bioelectrical force. We know that the body can function like a battery. You can be positively charged with ions, and then we know oxidative stress is way higher, body regenerates way slower, and if you take off your shoes and get deionized in 20 minutes on a beach or in a forest ground, you see inflammation levels are reduced immensely in joints if you do it regularly. You don't know how much these inflammation levels can fall down in blood clot, blood images, how we see the blood functions. People can change the structure of their blood in few minutes just by being grounded barefoot, exposed to bioelectricity, to exchange of ions. The body is highly complex. I don't know yet how it completely functions, and we probably don't know all of it, but I can tell you the military industrial complex knows about that shit. And if you get in connection with the bioelectrical field, with also, there's billions of particles raining on the earth onto its electromagnetic field every millisecond from every star and from our sun. And we are in total exchange with electrical forces of ions and everything. And if you get into that field, you can be pretty healthy. So doing things like Qigong or breathing techniques or grounding can increase your healing power immensely. And the third is mindfulness, concentration. Most of the people, they go away from their pain, but don't go away from the pain. Go into the pain, become conscious of it. If you have often you have problems with your ears, and you get often, like when you get a flu, you have your ears hurt, concentrate onto the point exactly where the ear hurts and concentrate on it, and you will feel how it becomes warmer. Tibetan monks were tested that they could rise their temperature by 2 degrees Celsius just by concentration. You can send warmth in your body and heal just by concentration. So these 3 things, prayer, concentration, and the bioelectrical field. If you do these 3 things, you will become a Wolverine. It will not be in the movies, it will heal in seconds, but I healed cuts and tendon ruptures 3 times as fast, diagnosed by a doctor. He treated me and he was baffled how fast I could walk again. It's amazing. It's an amazing testimony. And I know that there are miracles out there. We just don't understand them yet. But we can believe.